Hilaire is a stockman. He lives in New Caledonia. He has dedicated his entire life to raising livestock. New Caledonia is an overseas department of France that extends for some 12,000 square miles. It is situated in the heart of the South Pacific. Its nature has inspired many poets, as well as the curious nickname of Boulder. It is said to emerge like a boulder from between the Pacific Ocean and the Coral Sea.
I live in Ateux, the highest village on the boulder, some 10 miles from Conet. Here in my tribe, I'm responsible for the livestock. I herd our 1,200 head down to the river once a month to bathe. This job takes a week, and every stockman in the tribe takes part.
Horses have long been an integral part of the life of Caledonian breeders. They are also an indispensable tool in their work. The Ateux tribe lives on land that once belonged to its ancestors. These grounds stretch out over several thousand acres of dense forests and rolling pastures. The cattle are free to roam on the edge of an immense mountain range that stretches out from the center of the island. A stockman's soul is mirrored in the vastness of these wide mountain valleys, where his cries and gestures will be repeated time and time again. The wild nature of the cattle does not make grouping them together an easy task. But with the help of dogs, even the most feisty can be brought back to the herd. Impressed by his ardor and bravery, the young people of the village have nicknamed Hilaire, Mind Not Death. After having assembled the animals, Hilaire and his men take a well-deserved break on the banks of the river. But the landscape has been affected by the drought of recent years, which has lowered the water level of the river and drained the water holes. The herd has not yet been totally assembled. Only 900 animals have been brought forth to take a bath and rid themselves of their parasites. Afterwards, each animal will be counted and inspected.
Before the tribe got its land back, I worked for a long time with Patrick Ardimani. At the time, we were in a big station in Pingen. Now he has his own station, a little smaller. But we still work together when we have to rally his cattle.
Patrick Ardimani is a breeder, but he is also one of the most able horse breakers in Boulder. His work is a veritable passion, and he safeguards its traditional aspect by resisting modern technology. The selection of livestock is important. It is based more on physical traits and behavior than pure pedigree. The swallow spends his time doing nothing instead of work. Contrary to this local proverb, stockmen rarely ever stop working. For many generations now, they have herded cattle on the vast plains of New Caledonia. The herd is brought back to the station. The calves will need to be isolated. Some will now be killed and some branded. The use of traditional branding methods highlights a strange aspect of a stockman's work, but it also bears testimony to man's will never to forget the origins of his knowledge. Once inside the pen, Patrick Ardimani and Hilaire cut the tip of the tails of the cattle as a hygienic measure. At any moment, they both risk being trampled on and crushed by the sharp hooves of the animals. Contrary to most stations that now use ID tags, Here, branding is still done with a hot iron. The permanent nature of this identification avoids confusion and attempted theft. Introduced in the second half of the 19th century, cattle breeding is inseparable from the agricultural history of the country. With more than 125,000 head of cattle, breeding accounts for a large part of the agricultural product of New Caledonia. Bovine breeding is becoming principally orientated towards meat production. More than 3,500 tons of meat pass through the slaughterhouses every year. The most pure races like cattle from Limousin and the Charolais are usually the first to go. At Patrick Ardimani's, the slaughter quota is inferior to that of the big stations. But for the 3 or 4 cattle that are killed each week, Hilaire's collaboration and know-how are important.
Hilaire is an old-timer now, but it still helps to have him around. I think that stockmen are an important addition to the cooperative because they have a lot of skills to bring to the young, traditional knowledge that's beginning to disappear. Hilaire is a stockman, and he can share that wisdom with all the young kids who want to enter the world of cattle breeding.
Brought in by colonists, the stags of New Caledonia were originally from the island of Java. Over 10,000 animals were counted last year, illustrating a rapid expansion due to the lack of a natural predator. Stag hunting, practiced by the stockmen, helps to keep the stag population in control. Hunting expeditions take place on the range and last 2 or 3 days. As soon as the stag's path is spotted, the stockmen draw in for the kill. The stag is first bled dry and then cut into pieces. That night, at campsite, a part of the animal will be grilled and eaten. The rest will be brought back to the village. Under the glimmering moon, the cold temperatures of night follow the heat of the sun. Hilaire and his men relive the day of hunting and tell stories passed down by their elders about the spirits of the forest. The forest seems full of wisdom. A Caledonian myth speaks of the forest as the true mother of the world. The tree comes from the earth, and man is the fruit of the tree. And with man's regenerative genes, he gives birth to new fruits and new trees. Nothing and nobody exists without the earth. Like all Caledonians, the stockmen are very attached to these ancient beliefs and myths. The tales once softened their childhood and have since accompanied them on the path of life. Above and beyond religious beliefs, Clément remains the living memory of the village of Athieu. It is he who passes down the wonderful legends of old.
One day, a sultan chicken and a rat made a raft out of sugarcane to go fishing on the reef. When they arrived, they climbed on the reef and began to fish, but the rat was hungry, so hungry that he returned to the raft and finished all the sugarcane. The sultan chicken, coming back, asked where the raft had gone. The rat explained that he had finished all the sugarcane in order to satisfy his hunger, so the chicken got up and flew away, and the rat stayed alone and cried on the cliffs. He cried so hard that an octopus heard him and asked him why he was crying. The rat told him the story, and the octopus said that the rat could climb on his back. Swimming in the water with the waves crashing on the bald head of the octopus made the rat laugh. When the octopus asked him why he was laughing, he said it was because of the waves and that they were almost there. Once on the shore, he explained that it was the octopus's bald head that had made him laugh. The octopus was angry, so the rat went to hide in his house, and ever since it's been said that each one stays in his respective home.
Le Ballon d'Or, une aventure universelle. Ce soir au cinéma, le Ballon d'Or à 19h30. La vie de Salif Keita. Dans son village, on l'appelle le Turbo. Le Ballon d'Or à 19h30. Un film sur une passion, le foot.
If the children of the village of Athieu are vividly transported by Clément's magical stories, in Kone, the men prefer the movies. A travelling picture show stops once a month in the village.
Ça va? Oui. Tiens, c'est pour toi. Il est un peu usé, mais je crois qu'il te servira.
The villages of Boulder have always been, by instinct, sparring towns. So it's not surprising that competition has manifested itself in the breeding stations. On his return from a trip to Vanuatu, Patrick Ardimani brought back the rodeo with him.
C'est bon? Allez. Okay.
The rodeo is now at all agricultural fairs in New Caledonia. The stockmen compete to see who has the most finesse and strength in a sport that necessitates as much acrobatics as talent.
Non, 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 c'est la peau qui fait ça. C'est la peau qui bat. Mais sinon, t'es bien dessus. Regarde, Jerry. Attends, amène un peu devant. Là. Attends. Ok, tu peux m'asseoir? C'est toi. Tu peux t'asseoir après.
For this man, it's his first time on a bull. Friends advise him as to the best position and give encouragement.
Non, n'aie pas peur, il va pas se lever. Essaye de pousser le taureau par... Qu'il puisse glisser. Voilà. Glisse tes deux pieds. Ouvre en bas, carrément. Prépare-toi bien. Mets-toi bien devant. Mets-toi bien comme si tu voulais sortir. Encore. Avance bien. Voilà. Ok, vous. Ok.
You began in '69. No, I wasn't in that rodeo. I was in the army in France. When I got back, my mother wouldn't let me. I was 18. She absolutely refused. Then I met Patrick. We worked together, and then he said, "Look, I'll get you on a cow to show you what it's like." I was so scared I wet my pants. Not really scared doing it, just thinking about it. I like my job more than anything. I've always taken care of cattle, and I've always trained young horses. And I think I'll continue that all my life. I guess I was born with horseshoes on my feet.
Hilaire and Patrick are stockmen. As such, they know how to handle cattle in these vast open spaces and to stand up to their legendary reputation. This is the Wild West, their Wild West, in the heart of New Caledonia.